now that you know your learning style, what I'd like to do is show you how to solve a problem in a way that addresses different learning styles and gives you an opportunity to study in a way that works best for you and the way that your mind works. So I'm going to actually solve this problem in a way that uses all three learning styles, and so you'll get a chance to see what it looks like, and you can also then pick and choose the strategies that I use as you study and do what works for you. So Thomas has a coupon for $6 off. James has a coupon for 30% off. What would their meal have to cost in order for their coupons to be worth the same amount? Show your work to justify your answer. And this is really key, right? Like the show your work piece is, in order to get full credit on this problem, you really have to have your work shown. And so not only am I going to show my work and justify my answer, right, but I'm also going to do it in a way that addresses the three learning modalities: auditory, visual, and tactile. So starting with auditory, people that learn through an auditory learning style often do better to hear the steps described as opposed to just seeing what to do, like writing a sentence that says this is what the step is, and a sentence that they can sort of say out loud to themselves is actually really helpful. So in this problem, let's think about what the first step would be. There's two different people, Thomas and James, that they both have coupons, and I need to know basically what each discount is in order to be able to figure out which one's better, or what the meal would have to cost in order for the coupons were worth the same amount. So my first step is write an expression for, and let's start with Thomas. Thomas's coupon. Write an expression for Thomas's coupon. And as you do this, make sure you stay in each box, right? I know some of you have bigger handwriting, but do your best to stay in each box. Okay, and then let's see, now that so this is, for those of you who are auditory learners, this is going to be really helpful to you. For me to actually write out, this is what you're going to do. Write an expression for Thomas's coupon. So Thomas's coupon is $6 off. So let's say the cost of the original price of the meal, or the price of the meal, is P. What does Thomas's coupon do to that price? Well, it takes off $6. It subtracts $6. So this is the actual work, right? This is the step that I'm doing. I'm writing an expression for Thomas's coupon. And so you would write, like, on your work, you'd write something like this: Thomas, P minus 6. And then James also has a coupon. So my next step, and look, I'm going to write my next step. I could write it in a different color, right? Like I could use blue or purple or red. For those of you who are even more visual, if you want to write each step in a different color, that's fine. If you want to just stick with pencil, that's fine too. Write an expression for James's coupon. So here I'm going to put James. And now this is a little bit more complicated. It's 30% off. So let's think, like the price starts at 100% of the price, right? And we're taking 30% off. We're subtracting 30%. James is going to pay 70% of the price. Okay, and as a decimal, 70% is 0.7 or 0.70, doesn't matter. So James's coupon takes the price and multiplies it by 0.7. That's what James's coupon does. Okay, so now I have an expression for Thomas's coupon and an expression for James's coupon. Those are my first two steps. And now what I want to know is, what would the meal have to cost in order for the coupon to be worth the same amount? Well, what mathematical symbol do I use to represent same? Equal sign. So now I'm going to set the expressions equal to each other. Right, I'm going to set the expressions equal to each other. So I'm going to take P minus 6 and make it equal 0.7P. Okay, and then my last step, now that I have this equation, is to solve. And so let's do this. And remember that you have a calculator, so we don't need to stress about the fact there's a decimal here. Okay, so let's see. I notice that I have variables on both sides. And so the first thing I'm going to do is decide what's the smaller coefficient. This is a 1, and this is a 0.7. What's smaller, 1 or 0.7? What's smaller, $1 or 70 cents? This one is the smaller one, so that means I'm going to subtract that one from both sides. So 1 minus 0.7, this is the same as $1 minus 70 cents, but if you're not comfortable with the math, that's fine, right? You just use this. There's no judgment on using it. You get to use it on the midterm. This is 1 minus 0.7 is 0.3. So I get 0.3 p minus 6 equals this, cancel that, and it's 0. Then I'm going to get rid of the constant that's with the variable. Here's the variable. There's a constant, so I'm going to plus 6. I'm working really hard to stay in this box. It's a little challenging. And then here I have 0.3 multiplied by p. So I'm going to divide by 0.3. You might end up going a little bit out of the box here. It's okay. And then I'm dividing. So I'm going to take 6 divided by 0.3. And I get 20. So p equals 20. Now the last step, which I'm not writing here, is you would need to say the meal would have to cost $20 in order for the coupons to be worth the same amount, right? That would be an important last step here. But now that you've done this, right, and notice hopefully this is helpful to those of you who are auditory. You've written out the steps. To those of you who are visual, you have each step written out. And then the last step is, this is a strategy for those of you who are tactile. And tactile learners sometimes have a harder time because sometimes it takes a little bit more for them to learn. And so now you're going to cut out these boxes. And look what I'm cutting out. I'm going to cut off all the extras, including, look, I'm going to cut off steps and work. And I'm going to be just left with 8 boxes. Okay. And when I cut these, I'm going to cut it into 8 separate boxes. And now the tactile learners are going to benefit the most from this next piece, but now they're going to be all mixed up and you need to set them up. So let's finish cutting them. Okay. Now, ideally, what would be best is if we did this in half an hour or something right after we did it. It's going to be kind of easy to remember. But this is just a strategy so that you see the strategy. I'm going to go back to this paper, and notice I have a very similar box set up here. And so now I'm going to go and figure out the order again, right? So here I'm going to start by dividing it into this is work, that's work, that's work, and my steps. So I'm going to try to remember my steps first. And this one says solve. Well, solving comes at the end, right? So I'm going to put that in my last box. And let's see, set expressions equal to each other. I don't have expressions yet, so that can't be first. Write an expression for Thomas's coupon. Okay, do that first. For James's, that's here. And these could have been switched, right? It didn't really matter what order those were in. And then once I had the 2 expressions, I set them equal to each other. So that was the order of my steps. Now let me see if I can arrange my work. So here's this one. Let's see. Here I have an equation, and there's this expression and this expression and the equal sign. So that's this step. Here's this. This is an expression for James, so that goes here. And Thomas is here, and then here is my self. Okay. And then we could just we could make this really simple and just probably tape this down all with one piece of tape if we wanted, by just putting a long one right down the middle. So you tape this down however you want, but there we go, right? And so now I've hit auditory learning, which is to like actually write out the steps. Like an auditory learner is going to benefit from saying, okay, write an expression for Thomas's coupon, done. Write an expression for James's coupon, done, right? Visual learners are going to benefit from each step being broken up, and tactile learners benefit from the moving around and the figuring out of the order, and that's really helpful for tactile learners. So there you go.